Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to speak. I'm grateful to this committee's steadfast bipartisan commitment to Hong Kongers. It's very much appreciated by the community here and abroad. Hong Kong is a two-faced city. On one side, it stages a polished facade for global finance. This November, the Hong Kong government will host its Global Financial Leaders Investment Summit for the fourth year in a row. CEOs and senior executives from U.S. firms like Citibank, J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock will sit politely as the city's chief executive, John Lee, himself under U.S. sanctions, welcomes them to invest. They'll dine with officials, strike deals, and hear about Hong Kong's openness. But just down the road, the reality is starkly different. Jimmy Lai, the media mogul and British citizen, sits in Stanley Prison. Joshua Wong, once a student activist who testified in this Congress next to Sunny Chung several years ago, has been in solitary confinement for years. Chow Hang-tung, one of Hong Kong's most prominent human rights lawyers, remains detained without trial and punished if she speaks out. These are only three among the more than 1,900 political prisoners since the 2019 protests, including me for several months in 2021 and 2022. As for those outside the prison walls who aspire for democracy, Hong Kong has become an open-air prison where dissent is impossible and every step is monitored. This dual reality defines Hong Kong today, a place where Western bankers shake hands with sanctioned officials, while the city courts dictators and rogue regimes. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, John Lee famously declared that Hong Kong would just, quote, laugh off the sanctions. And the city has made good on that promise. For the past 2 years, I've worked with the Committee for Freedom in Hong Kong Foundation to document Hong Kong's role as the world's leading hub for sanctions evasion. Last year, I authored our report, Beneath the Harbor, which revealed U.S. and allied technology flowing through Hong Kong trading companies into Russia and Iran. This fall, CFHK will release a Canadian report tracing how Canadian technology has been diverted in the same way, with a European study to follow. Our findings are clear. Hong Kong has become the central artery for sanctions evasion, and the U.S. and its allies are falling behind. The numbers tell the story. After Russia's invasion, Hong Kong shipments dipped briefly, then surged. By the end of 2022, shipments to Russia had nearly doubled from pre-war levels. In just 5 months of 2023, Hong Kong exported $750 million worth of goods on the common high priority list, the very items most critical to Russia's war machine. Since then, Hong Kong has remained by far the most important node in the transfer of both Chinese and Western technology to Russia. One Hong Kong company, Puriclinos, pretended to sell fertilizer and charcoal. In reality, it shipped millions in U.S. semiconductors to Russian military suppliers, hidden behind a maze of front companies in Cyprus, a European Union member. Only after my report with CFHK exposed it did the Treasury Department act to sanction this company. Another trader, Li Jianwang, supplied U.S.-made drone parts to Iran through his firm Arctronics. When the U.S. sanctioned this firm, he simply shut it down and reopened under a new name within days. And Retronic, a Hong Kong trader, has shipped over 1,400 consignments of restricted technology to Russia in the past year, openly shifting its website from English to Russian as it pivoted into sanctions-busting business. Retronic remains unsanctioned. These examples show the scale of the problem. Well-connected Hong Kong firms helping Russia, Iran, and others arm themselves against the West with little fear of consequences. So what can Congress do? First, strengthen enforcement. The Bureau of Industry and Security is tasked with stopping this global trade, but is starved of resources. A handful of investigators working with outdated tools are chasing sprawling networks across continents. The House Appropriations Committee has proposed $211 million for BIS this year, better than last year, but still over $100 million less than the Trump administration's request. Congress should bridge that gap and ensure that BIS has the staff and technology to compete. Second, Congress should move the bipartisan Stop CCP Money Laundering Act. This bill would require Treasury Secretary to determine whether Hong Kong should be designated as a primary money laundering concern, or PMLC. This designation would unlock powerful tools, such as requiring U.S. banks to gather detailed information on dollar transactions touching Hong Kong. Senators Curtis and Merkley and Representatives Wilson and Panetta have introduced it in both chambers. What it needs now is momentum, and your support as co-sponsors could provide that. Finally, we've been advocating for the administration to issue secondary sanctions against banks financing illicit trade through Hong Kong, but thus far, no Hong Kong bank has been sanctioned for this. We urge members of Congress to add their voice publicly to this call. Financing is absolutely essential for cross-border trading. Without credit, it is very difficult for these businesses to operate. Hong Kong has chosen its path. It's a city where bankers raise champagne glasses while political prisoners languish in solitary cells, and where the same government that jails lawyers and journalists facilitates the flow of Western technology to our adversaries. Congress has the power to act, to deny dictators this safe haven, and to show that the United States will not laugh off its own